YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So, question that keeps popping up. We have the FGR8, 4 and 12B receivers, and I've seen, and I can understand why there's a bit of confusion with this, because the way that a lot of sites list these, it kind of looks as though they either don't know or they don't think that you can use your telemetry sensors on these receivers. And I've had a look through the instructions, and the instructions are not particularly helpful. So what we're going to do today, we got a battery, we got a little Traxxas ESC, we got a Traxxas Servo, a 2056 plastic geared horrible thing. We have got a temperature telemetry sensor, we've got the FGR12B, and this will work the same for the 8B, 12B and the 4B. And the reason I'm going to show you with the 12B is there's one quite interesting thing with this. So if you've got the 8B, you've only got 8 channels plus the voltage monitoring one. If you've got a 12B, you've got 12 assignable channels and the voltage. 3 of these assignable channels can be assigned to be not just channels but also iBus, S-bus and a few other options. Now, yes, you can't use all 12 channels of the FGR12B on the NB4. Can on the Pro, but not the NB4. But what you can do, if you are using all 8 channels of the FGR8B, that then leaves you nothing else to be reassigned. Whereas the 12B, not only can you use channel 9 as a power feed to whatever else you've got on your rig, especially on crawlers, or you might have a cooling fan running off it, but your 3 extra channels that go up to 12 are all numbered NPA, NPB and NPC, and that's your 12th, 11th and 10th channel. You can assign one of these to be a input for the telemetry, still leaving you 8 fully usable and assignable channels. So that's what I'm going to show you on this video. So comment on one of my other videos since I've moved to this camera that some of the guides are getting difficult to follow because you're not really close enough. So I'm going to try something else on this one. I'm going to try moving camera around and see if I can get you really close in. So let's crack on with video. Right, so here goes. We want the NB4 powered up, and then you're going to get your battery and your receiver. Then we're going to plug the receiver into channel 2. Then we've got a servo. We're going to connect that into channel 1 just to get us basic setup. So first off, you're going to want to hold the bind button down, power the receiver up. Then you want to go and set a model memory up. So we've picked a new one, channel 13 on mine. So you can go into that. You want to set your channel definitions to 8. So we'll get that done. I'll give it a name. So on this end it's going to be an FGR12B. So once we've got all that set up, you want your RF to be standard 2-way, and then we've got the receiver in bind mode, so you want to bind it as an enhanced. Binding successful. Right, then we've got it set up. So one thing that I like to check, servo frequency. Now, unless you specifically have a really fast servo on one of channels, you would go into that channel on its own and set it. or you can set all channels. Usually 380 will work with most things. If you do get problems, you can go into custom and you can turn it down. So a lot of them are 333 or 330. So you can just set that to whatever hertz you need to get your ESC to calibrate correctly and the servo to not twitch. It's usually a dead giveaway that that's too high if the servo's twitching away like mad. But once you've got that set, you want to come out and basically just check standard operation. Just make sure your motor's functioning, your forward and reverse. Once you're happy that it's all working, we can then go into RX set, and then you want to go into RX interface protocols. Now if you look on here, it's picking up that we've got 4. I'm not sure exactly how they set up on the FGR12B. I don't know if channel 9 is the 4th one. Just trying to have a look. Can't see anything listed on it anywhere, but maybe in instructions. But certainly these first 3 are A, B and C. So if we go into A, and then you want to set this to iBus in, and then you come out. So if we look on a sensor panel, we can go in, choose sensor, and then if you look up and down here, let's choose RSSI. So at the minute we've got no sensors connected, but you can select the DVB voltage because that port is always live. So what we want to do on this is, if we come back out that, and then you get your sensor and you connect it in to port A. Now you'll know this is working correctly if you get a solid red light. Then what we should be able to do is go back into a sensors, and then when you scroll down, you've now got temperature, and this is where you can set your upper and lower alarms if you like, or you can just leave it off and you'll just get temperature readout. So just to show you it's working, we've got temperature sensor 2 reading 16.4 degrees C, and if I grab it, we're shooting straight up into 20 odd degrees. Now on an FGR8B you're gonna have to lose a channel because you've only got channels 1 to 8. Although you can't assign functionality to any channel above 8, you can assign it to be a iBus port on the NB4. But what that also lets you do, if we go into assign, pick one at random and set it to channel 8. So whereas on the FGR8B you'd be out of channels, we've basically got our iBus sensor. So we've got a telemetry sensor, plus you can have the external voltage, and then we've got that steering servo now assigned to channel 8. So you can still assign a full 8 channels plus have telemetry and also the external voltage sensor. Now I've got the external voltage sensor to hand here, so let's see if we can get that to read also. Just so just for completeness, so we can see everything's actually working. So if we plug that in, and then let's get a random LiPo. So if you're, say we're going to use a LiPo to power our lights on his rock crawler or whatever other vehicle, and you want to keep an eye on the voltage of that, you just connect into the balance port, positive and negative. If you're monitoring the battery that your ESC is running off, you don't use the negative, but if it's an external one you use both. Then if we go into sensors, choose sensor, let's get rid of signal strength, so we should be able to go DVB, and then if we come out, so we've got 7.49 volt on his external battery, The BEC is giving the RX receiver 5.92 volt, and we've also got the telemetry sensor, so as temperature's reading, and you can plug multiple ones of these in. You just daisy chain them up and then it's completely selectable whichever ones you want. Right, hopefully this is better and easier to follow, but you'll have to let me know. Well, let's wrap this one up. Right, so hopefully that shows you all you need to know about getting the telemetry working on the FGR8, 4 and 12B receivers. If you would like to know more about the other receivers, let me know. As I say, I've shown you on the FGR12B. It's an identical process on the 4 and 8. It's just that you've only got 4 and 8 channels, so if you're going to reassign a channel to be a iBus connector instead of a channel, you're then going to lose that functionality of the channel. It's one thing with the 12B that I find really interesting, that we can still fully assign all 8 channels. You've still got the other channels that you can use, so 9, 11 and 12 as power feeds to other things in the car, fans, lights, anything. You just won't be able to control them, but you can reassign one of the channels to be your iBus connector, which means you're not losing one of the 8 assignable channels that you can set on the NB4. And I know on crawlers, when you've got winches, multiple lights, kind of start needing all them extra channels. But hopefully this video works out and it's a bit easier to follow and a bit nicer to see. But thanks for feedback, and thanks again for watching WTF Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content and video, like and subscribe. Don't forget to share to friends and family or anybody else that might find it useful. And I'll catch you guys again in the next one.